Do your builds feel plain and boring? Or do they look something like this? Ugh. Do you hear yourself saying phrases like, "Oh man, I wish my Planet Coaster would look less like Planet Coaster"? Then say no more. No, seriously, shut up. Because today I'm gonna show you how you turn that into this. Taking you out of your little comfort zone and utilizing pieces in ways they are not supposed to be utilized. But I'm gonna do it anyway. So let's deplankify your game. Welcome to Use This, Not That. Hello friends, this is your boy A to the Brizzle, and together with Warren we created legendary parks such as the Empire, the Lord of the Parks, and El Dorito. With quite a few hours of experience under our belts and Planet Coaster 2 right around the corner, we thought this would be the perfect time to get into the YouTube business. So, without further ado, let's head right over to the pieces that we will use to skin our pirate ship and make it into something truly unique. Let's get started!
Okay, let's go.
The concept of using flat roofs as floor pieces isn't a new one and should not come as a surprise to anyone really at this point in time. So I guess we're off to a great start of missing the whole point of this video. Cool! Anyway, I decided to use the firehouse roof piece because it's good for what I'm doing here. Not as good as the default water textured path, but well, somewhat good. Just leave me be. Time to bring the lollipops into the candy shop. Due to their unique pattern, lollipops make for a great wall or floor decoration. Lick 'em, stick 'em, or sink 'em into the floor. In this case here, I clustered a bunch of them together to resemble something like waves. I decided on this shape and pattern, but of course you can use them however you want. You are, after all, the owner of your enormous boat, so do whatever you like with it. Now the grass is a whole different topic. I've always hated the flat texture of the terrain paint, so in a complex formula I came up with a way to make what I call the
Ultimate grass.
correcto mundo. Does it use a lot of pieces? Sure. Should you ever use it? Of course not. But you cannot deny that it looks absolutely amazing. I used edgeless planters as a base and covered it in upside down begonia. Put in a scagliola for good measure and there you have a perfect patch of grass containing only 8,632 pieces each. Burial mounds are great. Not only do they contain secrets or someone buried underneath, which is fun, but they also make a great border for our newly created floors. Really, you can use them for all kinds of things. Try putting them under your fence or trees, for example. Nourish our nature with all those bodies hidden in your backyard. Let there be
whipped cream.
I used it to simulate some water riffles. Yes, water riffles. And that's the only thing you can simulate with them. By the way, if you like this video or find it helpful, why not show us some little love and support? Just to keep me motivated. Or even better, let me know your ideas underneath and who knows? Maybe I'll pretend they were mine in a future video. Alright, let's continue. The icing icicles make for some great splash effects, so I surrounded our Flatride support bases with them to cover up the grey and boring looking textures and also to imitate the raging sea. Rush, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And just like that, it's already time for our walls. I chose the temple pieces for their multicolored texture. Also, as a little side note, they're non-grid pieces and allow you to build cool things like, for example, the Leaning Tower of Pisa as seen in the Empire. So go check that one out. I colored them to my liking and added my favorite wood to it. The gingerbread icing has some beautiful natural curves and makes for a perfect piece of fancy decoration. There's truly nothing more boring than using doors as doors. You have to see beyond. Focus your inner eye, my son. Pair it with a hypnotic lid sign and create a marvelous fake archway. But hold on a minute, we can take things even further by putting an even smaller door into the bigger one. Just like one of those Russian Matryoshka dolls. Now, the ornate lid sign has some great detail on it, so we'll be using it for exactly that purpose, instead of wasting like 1,000 pieces. Yep, sometimes even I can be cautious of the piece count. I'm a console player after all, so finding all those nifty little things is essential to create at least an illusion of complexity. The last sign we're going to use is the gradient sign, and it's truly one of my favorite pieces in the game. It's super versatile. Here I am using it as a fake sky, instead of just showing the real sky. Next up, we used the wooden support. I grew tired of the regular pillar bases, so by adding the wooden supports together I simply created a new one. I'm using a standard pillar as a pillar though. I'm kinda sorry. Yeah, and just like that we have a super unique wall. Every good tower needs a dome, and I found that using the Victorian arch piece is perfect for creating them. Put them together to create an arch and then use this neat little circle trick until the dome is complete. I then created a separation by putting them sideways. And there goes the tip of your massive dome. Now to create the top level, I simply copied our freshly created wall and circled it around again. This allows not only for coherence in our build, but also covers the fact that I'm actually a lazy piece of shit. I then filled the gaps with more temple blocks. The same blocks were also used to create our tower's walls by simply rotating and copying them all the way down. Time for another door. I realized that the top arch put together with the second one will form a nice little hole that can seamlessly fit a clock in it. Great detailing at a discount of only 3 pieces. I grouped them together and filled up the rest of our tower walls while using the same technique as before. I then recolored the top doors for some variety and added our usual sign for some roof decoration. And just like that, our first tower is completely done. Now for every big tower there is a little one. We simply use the smaller Victorian arches to create another smaller dome. The usual temple blocks serve as walls again, and after erecting this small but beautiful structure, it is time for some detailing. To differentiate from its bigger brother tower, we are using windows instead of doors. Well, we use some doors on the shaft to give it some girth. I copied our arches down the tower to break up the sections and make the walls a bit more interesting. The roof, of course, gets the usual signs for details, and that's what you call coherence, not laziness. So, with all the walls and towers in place, it's time for the little things. I put 2 coaster loop signs together and used them as a fence instead. I used the Qin Dynasty pillar base to cover that nasty ride entrance and exit, and then mashed together a ground planter and some temple decoration to make an even bigger planter that covers the gap between entrance, exit and fence. Some final touches here and there, some foliage of your choice, and there you go! Our beautiful ride skin is complete. Chef's kiss, mwah! And with that, my friends, our episode comes to an end. So sad. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode of Use This, Not That, and if you did, let me know so I can create even more episodes in the future. Next up, Warren and I will tour one of our own parks, giving you some insight on the process and ideas of our tiny little brains. Oh, and for everyone who stayed until the end, we have a little teaser about what's releasing soon. So enjoy, have a good one, and see you around. Bye!